Hey, it's your girl Kdiddavis. I'm back to you one more time. And I'm back to you with a little part of my story, a little bit part of my life. And some people, I know I can talk fast. I'm trying to really slow down so you can comprehend what I'm saying. And if you're not used to me in general, you might not understand what I'm saying. So I'm trying to make sure I'm being conscious. I feel kind of slow talking this slow, but I know I have to because people have to understand what I'm saying and be able to comprehend it. And it makes it much harder for me because I can't breathe out my nose. I'm not trying to have the breathing sound in the phone. I need to go to the doctor for this because it's between allergies. I think it's other stuff going on right here, but the struggle is real. Anyway, hi, good afternoon, good morning, good night. Depending when you're watching this, I hope you have, it's not really fun or enjoyment, but I hope you learned something about the shelter system in New York from this video. If you know me by now, I don't care about the mistakes. I don't do a lot of editing. I don't actually like to edit, to be honest. I just like the raw kind of, things. Even the things I watch, I like to have more raw stuff. I don't like the edits in people's videos that much either. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just a little lazy. I just don't like it. I like to see people how they are in their surroundings. You feel me? So that's what I do. Anyway, so as you may have known already, I went in the shelter from 2016, and I came out 2018. But that's more than a year and a half. No lie. 2015, Katanya was born. I left there 2016, so I was in shelter from there. All right, so 2016, 2018, but I got there 2016 in August, and then I left in November to go out the country, which sounds crazy, and I came back in January. So from 2017, 2018, that's when I was in there. I counted as a year and a half, but I wasn't in there for 2 months, so I don't even count that time. So yeah. But so yeah, I was in the shelter for really a year because I left last year in February, so that's 2018. So yeah. When I'm gonna talk about the whole experience in general. Certain things I didn't like, certain things I saw happen compared to what I see on YouTube so far and people talk about. A lot of the experience I haven't had and a lot of experience I did have, just because the reason why my experience is kind of different than a lot of, like, say, single people who are by themselves. Family shelters are much differently, and to me much cleanlier and much better, to be honest. Just because I won't say all of them treat you that better. I've been to 4 different shelters, so I have experience in all of them. One of the shelters, which is the smallest one, they didn't keep the room that clean. It was dust everywhere, and I have allergies. And at the time I wasn't taking medicine. I'm not taking medicine now, but I was taking medicine a couple months. Having a point. Boys, I have medication for my allergy. I just don't take it all the time like I'm supposed to. That's the point, right? And okay. When I signed up for my first shelter in 2015, but I didn't get in. All right? This is the first problem I have with the shelter system in New York City. And the funny thing, it seems like New York City has the best shelter systems from what I'm seeing and hearing about. It just seems like people come from other states to come to New York City for shelter. That's how good it is. Like, what? That's how better it is than other states. Just because you don't have to leave in the morning with your family, your stuff can literally stay right there. Like, you can literally have, like, some people, I don't personally know them, but I know people who work with the system, and people stay, like, they make the shelter literally their home because they don't pay rent, and you just stay there and you just accumulate money. People will say, I'm gonna save $10,000, $30,000 and just stay at the shelter, not pay rent. That's what they do, because some shelters are very nice, some others are crappy. So it all depends what you get. When I first tried to do for the shelter 2015, I got denied. out of a private shelter, and Path is like the shelter for families in New York City. The reason why at the time I had food stamps, but I didn't have public assistance because I was working. Apparently I was making too much when I wasn't. I was working part-time at Forever 21, but I also at the time was getting unemployment. So for them having both of those incomes, I was making too much. So I didn't qualify for public assistance. I only qualified for food stamps. And when I was pregnant, they gave me like a little more, but it was really like much. I think they gave me money. They didn't give me extra food. I don't remember. I know WIC give you food. I don't remember. This is 2019. Some details is not going to be the greatest. I'm sorry. Some things I remember better than others, okay? So I went to a private shelter, and the private shelter said you have to have public assistance because public assistance is the way. That's why when you go to shelter first, they make you go through public assistance because that's who pays the rent for you, which I think America in general seems like just a nut job, to be honest. But hopefully I remember this point when I'm like, whatever. Public assistance pays for your shelter fees. They also could pay for your shelter fees when you're in an actual apartment. They help you pay your rent. If you did not know, if you want to get elaborate on certain things, HRA can pay for you depending on your income and situation, how much kids you have, if you don't have kids, things like that. If you want to do a separate video about that, I can, just because I've been through it for so long and I've done it for so long. I know certain not say tricks, but certain things that they do. They help you with storage, like storing stuff in a storage locker. They help you with that crap. You'd be surprised. I'm hearing noise outside. That's one thing I'm not used to buildings. I've been here over a year and a half. I'm just when I hear noises and I live by myself, I freak out. I was like, are they coming to my door? I'm paranoid. So, they told me they denied me because I didn't have public assistance. And I was like, I'm trying to apply for it, but they didn't give it to me right now. And they said it's going to take a while because it takes about a month. It takes less than a month depending. If you do public assistance and you don't have a job, they give you food stamps, but the cash part takes about, it says 25 days if it's a family. I don't know if it changed, and 30 days if it's by yourself, something like that. Yeah, if you have a family, it goes through much faster, but what's 5 days for something? The money's not even, the money what they give you is not even that great. I'm just saying. So the lady denied me. She had a place, and the only thing is they had so many rules. Shelters have, if you don't know, they have so many rules. And yeah, so she had so many rules. She said, at the time I was working, she said, you have to be in Wednesday. You have to come in at a certain time. It's a curfew, right? This shelter, people actually got to visit you 2 weeks after the baby's born. They got to visit you, and after that, they couldn't come in the shelter. I have to be there every Wednesday at a certain time for a meeting. I'm like, what if I have work? She said, it doesn't matter. You have to be at the meeting. I'm like, so I'm supposed to, that's what I don't understand with these government things. Granted, that's a private one. But I don't understand. If you want me to be off the streets, if you want me to get out of the shelter, if you want me to get off the system, why in the world would you stop me from working just to come and sit down and listen to what's going on for this week? Literally, we have to come together as a powwow every Wednesday because that's the shelter rule. To me, that's a dumb rule to have. If a person has a job and an income and you said they only could be, and the funny thing about that shelter too, they say you could only be in that shelter for a year. They didn't give you more than that unless it's has to be a real big thing why you couldn't get out. Why you had to be out of there a year. And if I'm taking off work every Wednesday, and this is all the way in Brooklyn, and at the time I was working in Manhattan, and my daughter was going to school in Brooklyn, how that's too much things to be going on. People need to be able to. I don't think they realize people need to be able to keep jobs and also get help. They make you pick sometimes whether to have a job or to get help. And the thing about your job's paying them more than the help, but you need the extra help to survive. It's it blows my daggone mind. I just don't understand, and I don't comprehend with it. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so when I had to bump that. When I went to PATH, they told me because the landlord I was living with, grew up in that house, they didn't evict me. They said make them evict me. I'm like, eviction takes too long. And they said because I wasn't evicted out the house, I would need a letter from this and da 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 da, and I wasn't able to get that. They said they denied me for pass. Like, they literally, usually, the process when I first happened, I went there a couple of times before when I was pregnant. Big belly. Because usually if your belly's not showing, they make you take a pee test. But they saw my stomach, it's like, all right, you're pregnant. So they didn't ask me to pee. They didn't take the pregnancy test or nothing, so they was fine with that. They saw me with a big belly, 7 months pregnant. Well, 7 months I wasn't showing, but when I went there, I made sure I wore a pregnancy outfit so they could see my stomach, because, you know, they gotta know. Because I'm already a big person. Most times, at the time, people couldn't see it unless I wore pregnancy clothes. So, yeah. I started getting bigger like 8 months when you could see it no matter what I have on. 8 and 9 months, so yeah. So, they denied me. They said because I'm not getting evicted. And because I'm not getting evicted, I can't get it in, or I have to get a letter, whatever. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Why do you have to go through all this process just to get something that I need? I'm going to be in the street. So, that happened. I'm not going to go, if you want me to go to stories between, you can ask me and I could do a separate video for that. And it's like other things that I ended up going to somebody else's house and I made her evict me because me and her wasn't getting along. If you want to hear that story too, I could tell you that story later on. But if you don't want to hear it, it's not that serious. So other things, like, worst thing about a shelter I did not know coming in is the freaking fire drills. They do fire drills all types of the day and night. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning. 1 o'clock in the morning. My first fire drill, I was startled. It was mad late at night. I got home good at the time I was living in the Bronx. Kdiddavis school's closed at 6. To be 2 hours to get to the Bronx anyway. So I got there after 8. So I know this is like probably like 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. No lie. This one was at 6 in the morning. 5, 6 in the morning. And I had to get up early anyway. I was confused. Honestly, I thought it was a real fire. Because they didn't tell me. Maybe they had it in the handbook. But I'm like, I have too many things to read. I have to go to work. I have a child. Like, yo, Katanya's crying. Was she crying for this one? Or did she sleep through this one? Because certain fire drills, we got so used to it that even when we heard, like, Katanya didn't get up at all. But I heard this. I think this one she was crying through. Because she wasn't used to it yet. We wasn't used to the sound. But I'm used to it, but she wasn't. At the time, she 2. I can't even think about it. She was young. And she was crying through it. And I was like, what the hell? I thought it was real fire. I started putting on my shoes. And I don't sleep with full outfits. I sleep with half outfits. So I got me and Katania's stuff together. And I got out the door. I took the keys. And I went to the TikTok. Because, you know, I lived at the other side. Like, I had to go down. At the time, I was living it was like U kind of thing. And the elevator was on the one side of the U, but I live on the other side of the U. It's like, I can't take an elevator because it's going to be a fire. I went to the stairs, and they said, it's a fire drill. And I was like, okay, no problem. They said, go back to your room. Apparently, when you go do a fire drill, every shelter fire drill is different. This shelter, as long as you're in your room and you open the door, they count you in, whatever, right? You're not supposed to use, you're supposed to at least be, especially if it's at night, you can't miss 3 fire drills at this place. Some stupid nonsense like that. And keep your room door open and they count you in and they shut your door. And then that's how they know you're in their room and you actually comply with the thing. By the time I went to I lived on the second floor. I think it was the second floor. By the time I got in the stairs and whatever, when the person complied with my room, like, I wasn't even there. Because I thought it was a real fire. I didn't know. They didn't tell me they do that thing. And it's like, literally, probably the first week I was there. And I was so confused. I was so disoriented. The funny thing, that wasn't my first shelter. But the first shelter I was in, did I do that? I'm thinking about a nursing home one. The first shelter I lived in was Manhattan. But I only stayed there for a couple of days. Because they go through a whole process. Stay like 10 days, something like that. You have to go through a whole process. And then you, they approve you or whatever. But it ended up sending me in the Bronx. And I love that shelter so much better. It was so much cleaner. It wasn't drab and dingy. But yeah. That's what I hated. Fire drills. The last shelter I was in, we had a fire drill one time at 2 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the morning, and I think one of the young ladies was actually new. It seemed like she was new because she didn't know what the hell was going on. It's not dyslexia. What is that thing? It is a disease, right? When like it's too much flashing lights and they can get seizures. So she has that, and I don't know if they knew about it because you're supposed to ask what diseases people have or certain things like that, so they know like what's they're coming in the facility. And the last shelter I actually live in had metal detectors. It was serious. So she had and the funny thing, I don't think they understand. You're doing this at night. People have newborn babies. Like, they don't care. Your baby could be born yesterday. They don't care. They doing alarms. Like, I understand the safety, but everybody in there, you have to be over 8. I think you have to be over 18 plus your family. So if you're 18, you have a child. Everybody at this point should know how to do a damn fire drill. Why are you doing a fire drill at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning? And when they did it in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was getting ready for work, I am not going out there. At one point, I was so frustrated. I was like, I'm not going back out there. I'm going to get me and Katanya ready, and I'm going to work. And they'll see me after when I'm passing through the crowd. I'm not going outside. It got to the point I slept through fire drills. I was like, because they want to make sure everybody's evacuated. They'll count each floor. And after a while, they see nobody coming down. It was like, whatever. The point is, one of the girls was like, I guess she, in the room, it'll be flashing the lights. And then you hear the sound. And luckily, she didn't get a seizure in her bed. That would have been a bad thing to happen. But she said, I have seizures. And she came out screaming. Every time people, like, especially if you was new there, you wasn't used to the foolishness. People come out with attitudes. People come out screaming. People come out with... One thing I did like about the shelter, Christmas time. I did one Christmas in the shelter. I would have done 2 if I didn't go to Jamaica that time. But I did one Christmas in the shelter, and I got mad gifts for Katanya. None for myself. Did I get for myself? I feel like I got one for myself, but they usually care about the kids, so I feel like only was all for Katanya. I got a big bag full of stuff, toys. I got mad stuff. I think I got like 10 or 13 things for Katanya that year in that place. And it's kind of cool, you know. They don't have a home. They don't have whatever, but they have toys. And because Katanya was so young, she doesn't realize. Like, when she left, she started crying. I was like, Katanya, we're not coming back here. And she understood, like, that was her home. So for her not to go back, it was like heartbreaking. I was like, okay, we have our own place, da da da. And now she falls in love with here. She wants to go to anybody else's house though. She wouldn't go to anybody else's house. Like, oh, that's coming home, but it is what it is. Couple of other things I did not like about the shelter. For certain things I can only talk about the one I've been in the longest, because I saw more there guy live there longer. So, in the shelter I was in, at first I had to change my caseworker because she wasn't doing nothing for me. Like, she literally wasn't doing anything for me. And she was Hispanic. And I would give her paperwork that said, this is not good enough, that's not good enough, da da da. And I would find out about the programs from other people. And the program I got when I got out of the shelter for my stuff, she didn't actually do anything. She's supposed to put for certain things, certain housing situations or different things. They have different places where they could put you to get on top of the list or different things. She wasn't doing her job. And the only people she was doing her job for, who's always leaving, was the Hispanic people. Let's be honest. And the funny thing, I think it's called Kings or something. It's a shelter near where the landing is. I know word of mouth spread fast, especially when people see foolishness like this. It spreads very fast, and I don't know what it is, but whatever. Kings of Queen, something with King something. If you know, it's by the landing, by the airport, by LIG, LaGuardia Airport. LIG. I said LIG is LGA, right? LGA, I believe, for LaGuardia. If you're from New York, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, and you fly out here, you understand. But if you don't been here, then you don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so it happens in there too. Apparently, everybody who's moving out is Hispanic. If you wasn't Hispanic, you wasn't moving out. They kept all the black people back. And most people in the shelter, where I was, is black, Hispanic, And I probably saw like 1, 2 white people, and that's it. And the person who was white was so ghetto. She didn't come from New York. You could tell she didn't come from New York because her accent was not from New York. She sounded from somewhere else. And it's crazy. And all the Hispanics, we were moving out, like, it'd be another one, like, I'm like, damn, we can't get out. I was like, no. So I asked the supervisor who's in charge. I'm like, I can't work with her. I'm giving her paperwork. I'm telling her what to do, where to go, because her system, all right, you can do so much, but you have to put in certain places that you're in the shelter so they can put you on top of the list for certain, like, accommodations for certain things, and you have a child, right? Because I live in a family shelter, so automatically, I'm not a DVK, so I'm not top priority, but I have a child, and I was working. So if you only have a child and you're not working, you get a lower on the ranking for a lot of things, and you can't get a lot of things, but I was working. Like, it's not like I wasn't working. I was working. I had 2 jobs. I was in the shelter. So, at different times, not the same time. Gotta have time for that. Because the curfews were crazy. Even though I didn't follow the curfew sometimes because whatever. And also, they tried to play me with church. They tried to play another girl, but she wasn't like me. You can't deny a person for religious reasons. I got a letter from my pastor. What did I get, pastor? Assistant pastor. I got a letter from him. Or if I did youth stuff. No, I think I got it from youth stuff. I got it from his wife, the assistant pastor's wife. We went away to Connecticut. I went away for a couple of days. Because you're allowed to go away. Like, usually it's a night. But I did it not for a friend's house. I did it for religious reasons. So I got a letter from my church. And they took that. So I went from like Thursday to Saturday. And it's supposed to be coming Saturday, but I come like Sunday morning because it was so late. The bus got us there late. So, yeah. Not even. So that was a good thing. But there's some people that, you can't come in late for church. You can't go out for church. I was like, oh, really? I complained. One thing, if you're in the shelter and you're in New York City, complain to 311 because they will get on it. Because the incident happened to me in the shelter and I called 311. That's one thing I didn't, when I first got there, I didn't know what the dealio was. When I found out what 311 was, my friend, and you tell them your name, tell them what room you're in, things changed. I had asked them to change my room when I got hyped. When I was in the room for a couple of months and something happened in my room, and I was like, you need to take care of it. I was just leaning back, not doing nothing. Somebody said, call 311. I called 311. It was a speedy recovery. Yes, it was. There was leaking faucet. I was like, I had to get a bucket to go under the faucet, and it's like, literally, water's going in. I'm like, bro. 311 got the people there fixing themselves mad fast. Don't play me. I'm not the one. Not the one. So, when you're in the shelter, 311 is your best friend. I'm telling you right now. What I was saying, Lord Jesus, I got distracted. Oh, yeah. I remember this part, but I don't remember the other part I was actually talking about before I said that. So, I had to ask supervisor to get a different counselor, and I got a black one. I'm not saying I want to be a black person, but so I've been through a couple of counselors. All right. I've been through. They have housing specialists, and the housing specialists, depending on what rooms you are in, depending on how specialists you get. Because the housing specialist I had initially, every shelter is different. Because also in one of my shelters, the housing specialist was the caseworker, and I was like, what the hell, or whatever. So the housing specialist I had in this one, she wasn't doing her job, and she was only getting the Hispanics out. So I saw that from the get-go, and I was like, I thought it was only me. When I heard that was happening in other shelters, I was like, and the thing about, y'all already know, the Hispanics always stay for their people, so I don't know what more I expected from her. She said, I can't help you, I can't do. I'm like, but what? And I called, like, I'm a person, I'm not going to sit there and just take your word for it. I'm going to do the research myself if you're not getting on it. And I got so frustrated and make me so depressed. I was like, no, I need to get the hell out of here. And you're not even helping me to do your job. So I was calling up organizations. It's like, she has to do it because she's a housing director. I was like, oh, really? You're not doing your job, miss? People are telling me not doing it. People from other organizations are telling, literally, I had people who gave me their landline. I was calling this. I was like, I need help. I know people's names at their jobs. I wasn't playing. I call all the time, every time. All the time, every time. To get myself and me and my daughter out the damn shelter. I didn't want to stay there all the time. I didn't want to stay there because it felt like when you're in there, especially when you have a person, you know, people on your team was going to help you, you feel like you're going to stay there forever. And when I initially got there, the lady I'm talking about who always helped the Hispanics, she was my housing specialist. I had about 3 or 4 caseworkers. Why? Apparently, over there is a high turnover rate of people who actually work there. So people were coming in. The person I got initially was new when I first came in, and she was cool. I had all ladies. I feel like, did I have all ladies? That person wasn't mine, but it was a man, but it wasn't officially mine, because what happened is a vacancy for my housing, for my caseworker was open because they had to hire a new person to come in to do the job. So it was just in and out, in and out, in and out. Like, people was coming, staying a month, coming, staying a couple of weeks, coming, da-da-da. Mess, under stress. The girl who helped, who's my, who ended up being my caseworker, she was black, and she was mad cool. And my housing specialist was also a black guy. His name was Mr. Green. Shout outs to him if you ever see this video. And he a church boy. They both were church people. So I knew the Lord was on my side. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We talk about God together. Kept me grounded. And Mr. Green, he did his work, because he had people who, like, it didn't matter what color came to him. He had people leaving the establishment. He did his job, but he had to put stuff in. And I told him, like, if he didn't, because the funny thing is also, certain things he didn't know because he was actually new to the system also. So he would need help for certain things. I would tell him what to do, but I want him on my case and what people, like, different organizations told me to do, and he will get it, and he'll get a supervisor to do it, like, to help him out. I was like, yes. The other broad didn't want to get help. She didn't want to do her job. I don't know if it's my skin color or what it is, but she was helping out her own people, and it is what it is. That's one thing I don't like about the shelter system. It seems like certain people are getting out, and certain people are just sticking in there, staying in there, and it makes you feel honestly hopeless when you see people around you are leaving. And it's just, other things I don't like is, like, the fights. Personally, I didn't get no fight. I don't got time for that. I'm too old for that. Some people are too old for to be fighting too, but it wasn't a fight. I'm not. But there's a lot of young girls in there, you know, with their baby and they man can't keep they ding long and they schlong. So, you know, they were other girls, and it's, I wish I had a phone at that time. I had a phone, but I should have recorded the foolishness. This one girl got punched in her face, and she was across the hall from me. The girl was like, "You was with my man," but it was a bunch of fools. The cops had to come out. I'm looking through the people because I'm nosy as hell. The fights and the quarrels. One thing I did like about the shelter, sometimes people from the area would bring us food, like home cooked food. So it'd be like, it's a restaurant, so it's not like home cooked, but it's a restaurant cooked food. It'd be like mostly it'd be like a Spanish or Italian. I like that, because it's like that, or pizza places. And it was this guy named, his store is Mr. Bubbles. It's a laundromat. And he would give out free pizzas once a week. And I think he did it because of the shelter people, honestly. But he said he just liked to do nice things. He did certain things, like he'd give out free waters when it's really hot. He'd give out, like, candy. He was really, really cool. He had a daughter. He was mom. It was a nice area. It was in Elmhurst. Other things I didn't like. I feel like sometimes some staff will look down on you like you can't be here too. Like, one day you can't be here. And the funny thing, I went to the HRA office the other day, and this girl was like, she works for the shelter system. She works right now, but I guess, I don't know what happened. She's not working there anymore. I don't know what happened. If she still have the job or whatever. I think she still has a job. I think she went there for SOCA, some other thing she want to get for her housing, whatever. Because she said the reason why she can't get nights is because her income is too high. So that means she still had a job with the shelter people. She said and the funny thing is, some of her clients that she's seen, like when she goes to the shelter, she's seen come into the center. She said hi to them, whatever, like that. She said some people don't realize, like, they're really a paycheck away from being homeless, and you need to act kind to everybody. You can't just be, because a person is a shelter, that person could be president one day. That person could be up there one day, and because you need help from them, and they're not going to give it to you because why? You act disgusting to them when they needed help. People are people, no matter what color, what religion, it doesn't matter. Treat people as you want to be treated. That's really at the end of the day how it is. Like, treat people how you want to be. People be looking down on you like, no, boo-boo. Because a lot of people in the shelter have good paying jobs. And it's just like, oh, they can't because of fire. They can't because something happened. You don't know what the person's situation is, and you're looking down on them. Shame on you for doing that. Don't do that. People are people, and people deserve to be treated like such. I'm just saying. I don't know if you know a way for me to give back to the community, like to do something that can help people who are children who are hurt or people who are homeless. I really want to do it. I don't know what to do. I've been applying for jobs, and I need a job. I got to do a video about what happened to my job. But yes, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for being you. Later. Bye. I'm sorry for this being so long too. All right. Later. Bye.